Hello, good evening, good afternoon,
Hello.
wherever you are in the world. Thanks for joining us again on the Reefers Network for another episode of, well, don't know what tonight's going to be all about, but it's certainly going to be about one called the Diverman, who, Jamie, you're going to have to just remind me, where did he say he was when you last spoke to him? He's on his way up from...
He's on his way up. He's been, obviously, because he lives under the sea, he takes a long time to come to the surface. He has to decompress at certain stops. So I think he was at 30 meters when we spoke to him before this. So he'll be here soon, hopefully.
Okay, so be here soon. Right, okay. Don, thanks for coming back on with us. Missed you last Friday because we're obviously at the Reef AAC, which we're going to talk about a little bit this evening. I'm sure people are watching at home that attended it. Thanks to those of you that did. But there's been a bit of a special day this week. It was a birthday, Don.
I'm getting older. Older.
For those of you that didn't already know, please throw a well-deserved happy birthday to our regular panelist and co-host, Mr. Dong Zhao. Happy birthday, mate. Did you have a good day with your family? You. Good day? Anything?
Oh, wonderful.
Okay. Anything reefing related at all, or was it just strictly family time?
Strictly family time. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Jamie, looking quite good there in your new TRN hoodie. Yeah.
I've got
nice
all the
uniform.
right?
Yeah.
I've got
no
my
internet.
Uniform. No internet still. I've got my superb relic, and what better to drink out of it than a single malt Scotch whiskey, courtesy of Tommy and Shaz.
Yes.
Over the moon of meeting everyone last week. It was simply amazing. Really, really good.
Well, that spurred us on to decide that this week we were going to talk a little bit about, the event we had last weekend, which was a huge turnout. Again, as I've just said, for those of you that did attend and make the effort, wherever you came from across the UK, some even flew in, as we know. Thank you very, very much. And a big shout out to, obviously, Paul and Ange and the team at AAC for putting on such a superb event. But Don, we do look at the sort of you guys over there in the States. You guys take this pretty seriously, don't you? It's me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so much so you've got a mascot that when he finally surfaces wherever he is, he'll be talking to us about what he gets up to.
Oh yeah, definitely. Then so we basically fished the Diverman out from the ocean along with her girlfriend, a mermaid, and then we basically sold the mermaid to pay for the venue, and then keep the Diverman captive for our show.
There were many things that I took from my short trip to America last year. Whose phone's near the microphone? Whose mobile's near the microphone? Somebody's mobile's near the microphone. Is it you?
No.
It's somebody, or it's your headset. Anyway, or it's a fly. One of the things I was going to say that me and Drippy took, obviously, we went to Top Shelf Worldwide and we walked around RAP, and you couldn't walk around RAP without seeing the amazing Diverman dancing around, getting involved with kids, family, adults. And it's fair to say, Don, I know he's literally sort of getting himself suited up now, that he appeals to all ages, doesn't he, from what I've seen in videos?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Very nice attraction in a show. So you brighten up the whole event.
See, the Americans have got this great way of making all their shows really cool and out there, and guys like Diverman, but what they haven't got is a Drippy. That takes a bit of beating.
I don't know whether anybody would want a Drippy. Well, after let's not go there. Let's try and keep this clean before we go down the avenue. Right, while we're waiting for His Highness, wherever he is, let's jump into the comments to say good evening to those of you that have tuned in to support us this Friday. Thank you very much for those of you that have already done so. Speaking to each other, here we are, AAC TV. Stoke the Diverman is on tonight. Never forget our first meet at RAP. Paul at AAC. Thank you very much, Paul. Hope you and Ange are well. Hope you've had a good break, or still having a good break. He's saying, I'll be there soon. He's just looking for a place to park his submarine. Okay. So he'll be with us momentarily. Johnny Wright's in the house. Good evening, John. Hope you're good.
Hey, John.
We've got in here. Techers is with us. Good evening. James is here. Good to see you, James. Last weekend, he, of course, collected his prize from Exodus from the quiz we had a couple of weeks before. He got £75 worth of TDO and Nios food. Very nice. What else we got in here? UK 120 is in the house. Hello. Mo is with us. Nice to see you and Immers, mate. Nice to catch you briefly in the corridor. tends to be a lot of loitering in that corridor. If you were at school, you'd have certainly got dragged into detention. Who else is here? Let's have a look.
Hey, on that note, then, Mo, when we spoke to Mo, you was off on your holidays to Pakistan, I believe. Are you over there now, or are you back and with us? If so, that was a short trip.
Don't know. Well, even if he isn't, it's the effort that counts. We wouldn't expect any less from Mo.
100%.
Dan's here as well, the UK's tallest reefer. Hope you're good. Nice to see you in the chat. Thanks for joining us. Mr. Parry. Now, it was really nice to see Pete at the event this time round. Really nice to see him. Oh, he's here.
Oh, he's here.
Can you hear us all right? Can you hear us? You're muted. If you can hear us, you need to unmute
Sorry, the
yourself.
communication's down here. It's kind of tough to get my signal. I had to go check out my radar and all that. But I've made it. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Welcome to the surface.
Welcome to the surface. I'm Diverman. I'm not to be too rude. I'm just going to carry on saying good evening to those, or good afternoon to those fellow reefers that have tuned in to watch the show. So apologies for 1 second. Impatient Reefer, hello, good evening. Thanks for tuning in. Harry, again, nice to see you last weekend.
Hi, Harry.
Thanks for joining us. Tez is here as well. Terry was the lucky winner of the £100 voucher at AAC from a couple of weeks before. I can't remember what he bought with it, but I believe it was some fish, and I hope they're doing well. So you'll have to look at Tez.
Yeah, I think Terry took a lovely bicolor angel and a lemon peel, I think. He walked out the shop with a big box anyway, so he done well.
Cool. Yeah, hopefully he paid for everything, because you do know where he originates from, that area. Elise, love you, Tez. Hope you're good. Elise is a regular face of Diverman. You recognise that name, Diverman, Elisa?
Oh yeah. I've seen her at a couple of the shows, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Is she mermaid material, do you think?
Well, mermaids are a touchy subject. They look beautiful, but the sirens of the sea, there's a reason why they're sinking those ships. You know what I mean? Okay. Well, maybe we'll get to that later on. Good evening, Stephen Owen. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining us. And again, thanks for attending last weekend. Stephen Owen was fortunate enough to win a £50 MBM donated voucher to AAC as well. Oh, you put it to good use. Who else have we got in here? Here we are, the one and only. Happy Friday, guys, and welcome to Diverman. Great meeting. Yes, very good. Thank you very much, and thanks ever so much for their help in transporting. Unfortunately, Rob's broken down. Rob Pelagic, I'm talking about, broken down corals up to Yorkshire. They did finally make it, or they made it in one piece. Apart from, they did come to my house the following morning at 11 o'clock with a coral in a bag. I went, oops, this one must have fallen under the seat. Fair to say it's doing all right, even though the water was freezing. But yeah, thanks again to those two.
On that note, Tom, the turnout last week was superb. Obviously, we had Dean over from Ireland, massive effort. Yeah. Tommy and Shaz drove for 9 hours to come to that. That sounds like American territory, doesn't it? Really, that's crazy.
Definitely.
But yeah,
definitely.
Brilliant stuff.
What's the furthest Diverman that you've travelled in your submarine for a reef meet?
Say that once more.
What's the furthest you've travelled in your submarine for a reef meet or an event?
Well, I've been on the East Coast and the West Coast of the U.S., so I've done some shows in Boston. I actually met Dong at one of those shows, and then I've gone all the way out to Anaheim, California. We've gone to Texas.
That's a long route around, isn't it? Do you go below Brazil and Argentina, or do you go above Alaska and around that way?
A lot of people don't know this, but there's a lot of underwater cave systems and tunnels. They kind of mention it a little bit in that book, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. It's just a lot of things that people haven't explored. When you spend as much time underwater like me, you start to use those as like highway systems. The current just kind of takes you, and you can get from one place to the other pretty quickly.
Okay.
Oh, superb.
Do you know your way around, Diverman? Any shortcuts that you've picked up over the years?
Oh yeah. One thing you got to watch out for though is some of those deep sea creatures. You guys really haven't discovered a lot of them on the surface, but let me tell you what, man, there are some things down there that will halt my submarine in a second, and I just try to avoid them whenever I can.
Oh dear.
Glad you got here safely.
Yes. Gary Class, hello. Thanks for joining us. Lovely to see you again. Thanks for your kind words. Thanks for supporting the network. Really do appreciate it. Nice to see you. Here he is, Dave. Evening all. Did anyone sign your cast? No, unsigned, but still on. Yes, still on. Reef Rondo's announced. Good evening, Ronald. Hope you're good. All the best to you and Bernadette. Hope you're well. Mr. Code is with us. Nice to see Code as well last weekend. Thanks for the support. A few people talking amongst themselves. Have I missed anybody? Here he is, Mr. Krusty. Good evening, Krusty Clownfish.
Hi, Dan.
Who's the tallest, do you think? So we've got two Dans. We've got Dan, Dan Krusty, Dan's Reef. Who's the tallest? Any ideas?
No, that is close. They're both man mountains, aren't they? Okay. We'll have to have a high top next time we're together.
Yes, definitely. Dave Reef is with us as well. Hello. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you're good. Hope you're having a good week. Here he is, Irish Shrimp Guy.
Hey.
Now, I had to use the same translator app that I downloaded for Tommy and Sharon as I did with Dean. If anybody wants to for the next Reef meet, let me know and I'll send you the link. Here he is, Timothy, another fellow reefer that helped me out with lugging all those corals up north. Couldn't have done it without you, mate. Thank you very much. It fell in a few times. I had to literally pick him out, splashing around, as you can probably imagine. Here he is, Matthew. Thanks for tuning in and thanks for your support again with obviously arranging food, dining, tables, everything, getting involved. It was really appreciated, socials, etc. Chris is with us. Hello. So is Immers. Thanks for tuning in. Reefy Reese. Thanks for tuning in.
Shout out to Reefy Reese.
Go for it. Oh, yes. For the kind donation. Yeah,
very, very kind donation. One by Tommy and Shaz, the Julian Sprung books.
Yeah,
Reese takes the title of assisting towards the first ever charity donation from the Reefers Network. So many more to come.
Many more to come.
Awesome.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Reese. Thank you.
What I did say to Reese is we obviously gave out a lot of vouchers to get as many winners as possible. It left us with 80 quid in the pot for the Mind charity. I said to Reese, because I know what he spent on those books behind the scenes, we want to bump that up, and when we get to the £200 mark, that'll be donated on. I thought we've got to make it, a nice chunk. So that's what we're going to do.
Yes. But no, definitely a good start. Step in the right direction. Thank you very much. Alex B, Aquatics. Hi all. Finally made it to one of these live rather than watching it the following day. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Hi, Alex.
Thanks for the support. We've got Steve These. Happy Friday, Reefers. Thanks for tuning in. Jill's aquarium stuck in a muff. Okay, let's leave it there. Might be wearing a similar outfit to Diverman. Who knows? It depends on what he's dealing with.
You never know.
You never know. That's a question.
Back here.
William Schneider.
Your aquariums in the background, so I figured I wanted to find a nice parking space so I could show off some of my fishy friends too.
Okay. Do you name them? Are they named?
I never name my fish. I only let women and mermaid name my fish.
Oh, okay.
Smart.
Yes, we'll talk about your social calendar at some point this evening. Good evening, William Schneider. Hope you're good. Thanks for tuning in. Happy Friday to you. Dirt Devil's Reef is here. I'm no weatherman, but you can access me a few inches tonight. Okay, fair enough. Who else we got in here? Dave Reef, happy birthday to you. Dong, dong, dong. Hello,
thank you very much.
LT Reef,
Thank you.
Here we go. Very quickly, excuse the expletives. Here he is, Jipper Reef. Good evening. Moving on. Junior, hello. Thanks for tuning in. Rich Cornish Reef, thank you very much for the support. Abs Reef, good evening. Are we nearly there? Nearly. Woody's Reef.
Hey.
Steph's here, says hello. He's had a bit of a tiring week, flat out at iReef this week. Thanks for tuning in, Steph. You'll be back on soon. Here is Joe. Good.
Joe.
Nice to see you. Tony Close, UK. Here we go. Are we done? There or thereabouts. Apologies if I've missed anybody. Angie's here. There we go. Finding Nemo 3 evening. And I'm Dave. Here we go. More. I think I'm going to call it now. Last one. Here we go. Thank you very much for the donation again to Steve Owens Prize. Thank you, Michael. Right, there we go.
You guys got such a great community here. Holy moly.
I feel like I needed an oxygen tank from your submarine. Definitely when I went downstairs. So, Diverman, what's been happening? Come on, fill us in. What have you been up to recently? Anything to share with us?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So this is kind of like the start of my show season. I got 9 shows scheduled this year. Like I said, across the country, we got Frag Farmers Market is coming up tomorrow. That is actually my home show. It'll be 10 years that I'll be going to this show. It's in Connecticut, right over by UConn. Very popular school over in Connecticut. And it's probably the best homegrown, grassroots, really community-driven show that I've seen in the entire country. Now, not to say that the other shows aren't fantastic. I love all my shows that I go to. I go to Reefapalooza. They've been really cool. I've been to the Boston Reefer Society. I've been to the Lyra, Long Island Reef Association, Aquashella. I've been to a ton of these different shows, but Frag Farmers is, it just hits different.
Okay.
Wow. So that 10 years it's been running tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I believe it's their 19th annual show. One thing that's really unique about them is they run it out of a high school, where a lot of other shows are through, a convention center or some kind of rented hall. The guy that started at John Swanson, he was just a biology teacher, and he had some buddies that wanted to do a frag swap, and he talked to the principal and said, hey, yeah, you can use one of the bio labs. And it started off with 1 or 2 of the classrooms, and then expanded to 3 or 4, and then expanded to 5 or 6, and now it's literally like the entire first floor of the school. It's got over 100 vendors. It's got some of the biggest names in the industry. Worldwide Corals is going to be there. Reef Nutrition. You got PNW. You got saltwateraquarium.com. You got Champion Lighting. You got all these big names all coming to this school-based event. And one of my favorite things about it is it's bringing up the next generation of folks in the hobby. It's starting from high schoolers and the youth that are maybe would have never experienced a show like this if it was really right in their school. A lot of the students make decorations for the halls and stuff. Actually, a lot of the students work the show as volunteers. And then after they've graduated, they continue to come back and work with the show and become part of the industry, go on to be marine biologists. It's really, really great. It's truly one of my favorite shows. It's truly a community-driven event.
That's really good to have it in a working school, because that resonates over here. Two of our shows, certainly in the south of the UK, we've got Coral Freaks and Love to Reef. They're held in an old school as well. So you got the whole layout. The school hall is the main event sort of area. There's another sort of cafeteria area where we have talks and stuff. It's a really good layout for it. But your one sounds amazing because there's still kids involved. That's getting involved. That's brilliant. Really sounds good. That
absolutely, yeah. The students are, everybody sets up later today, and it's after the school hours. The after school programs and extracurricular activities and stuff. Once those are all done, I think around 4 o'clock, then the vendors start coming in and setting up, and it's just a scramble because we only have so much time before the event. It's a one-day event, just one day on a Saturday, but they get every year for the last couple of years, they've come real close to hitting 2,000 attendees in this one event. Again, just school-driven. Entry's only $10, so it's really accessible to a lot of people. Yeah.
That's a big number of people to go through a school.
Just a bit.
Yeah.
It's huge. It's huge. Yeah, it gets packed in there.
Go on, Don.
That's the only day you can park your truck on this high school's lawn without getting yelled at.
Oh, you have to. You really have to. One of the funny things is this year I think is going to be the first year that I've ever been to where it is not snowing. It always snows on Frag Farmers Market Day. They call it Reefer Christmas because everybody waits for Frag Farmers to come along. They've got your tax money, maybe some Christmas money from some of the gift cards you may have gotten from some of the stores on Christmas, and a lot of people are hoarding their funds to come and go to Reefers Christmas Frag Farmers Market because there's tons of deals. One of the other cool things that I really enjoy about it too is not only do you have, again, like Worldwide Corals and some of these big vendors, but you also just have hobbyists that are selling stuff from their own tank. And, you know, it's a really low barrier of entry. They bring like a 20 long or a 40 breeder or something, and they're just frags from their tank. It's just, you know, I'm looking to swap, and whatever I can sell today, I'm going to go purchase some new frags from somebody else.
I was just about to ask that. Dong, do you use this as an opportunity to stock up on corals that you maybe don't have at the minute, or you run out of, or you can't find?
Well, I seldom get a chance to attend that show because that many people actually will drop by my house on that day.
Oh,
because
right, okay.
because they normally don't travel this way, and
so what you're saying, Dom,
place
is you're too lazy to set a stall up over the road. You make people come to you. Is that what?
Yeah, you can say that. I'm actually really too lazy to set up a tank in a frag show.
Wow, okay.
It's okay. It's on his birthday weekend. He's going to be celebrating, right?
Yep, exactly. Yep,
definitely.
Well, let
All
me-
right, Dong, I got some gold coins for you. A little bit of treasure from the Diverman here for you.
here we go.
You've sent me some videos. Apologies if I've done this in the wrong order, Diverman, but I'm just going to throw them up to show some of the people back home. So you wear this suit. How many hours a day we're talking? We in this suit?
Oh, I
All
wear
the time?
this suit as long as I'm on the surface. I actually cannot survive on the surface without this suit. It's got a special blend of oxygen, helium, and some other special gas mixes. I've spent so much time underwater that the regular oxygen content up here is kind of toxic to me. So in order to avoid the bends and not really be hindered from the surface environment, I wear this thing constantly. But when I'm at the shows, I take breaks, and I'll typically be on the show floor for a solid, 4 hours, 5 hours, maybe take a 20-30 minute break to have some food or something like that, replenish my gas, get some water. But yeah, I have to wear this suit constantly. It is my burden.
Dare I ask what happens when you need to use the bathroom?
There's I won't get too deep into it, but I have technology. I have technologia.
Technology. Well, let me tell you, Diverman. I see you walking around here, and you're a bit of a celebrity over there, which is great. You're well known. Believe me when I tell you, everyone over here in the UK knows who you are as well. And it's from
fantastic.
It's from the likes of Tom, Paul, and Ange in the comments from AAC. They've all been over to Reefapalooza and stuff and met you, and they've come back, and all they've talked about, no matter how good the show is like, there was this guy called Diverman. It's amazing.
Hang on, let me just interject. It took a little bit of getting used to the first time round. I won't lie, because when me and Jippy walked into the hallway at Reef at RAP Orlando that we went to when we met you, the halls are so vast. As you sort of got a little bit of a glimpse of it then when you were walking in the sort of the entrance hall. The halls are huge, and you've just got this guy, not just this guy, Diverman, walking through, and everybody's you high five everybody, you're checking people's wristbands, you obviously have your photograph taken. Me and Drippy were just like, what is going on? It was a lot to take in, but it's definitely fair to say you raise the spirits, don't you? You set the fun level at an all-time high, I think it's fair to say. And everybody's better for it, definitely.
I mean, I try to make it accessible for everybody. The kids, a lot of times it's their first experience with this. I really go after trying to get folks that maybe it's their first time at the show. Somebody that maybe looks bored, or they're waiting to get to the movies, the park, the playground, whatever, and then they see Diverman come around, and I might blow my bubble gun or give them a plushie or some gold coins, and all of a sudden they got a big smile on their face. And it's not just the kids too, the spouses, the friends, and everybody that's maybe just there for somebody else is interested in fishing coral, but they're not. Those are the people that I try to get a smile to their face and just really bring the hype.
It's cool. It's so cool. It's just an addition to the event, right? One thing I'm going to say about your outfit, your attire, your suit, your life supply is I'm sure someone must have said it before, but the thing around your neck, that's just screaming out for a PNW tank, right?
No, me and PNW have talked about, maybe getting me a little special container that I could bring up to the surface to bring some of my fishy friends. This is my gas chamber. Let me see if I can. This is where my special mix goes. It goes through both of these chambers. And when I'm on the surface, I fill this guy up. I make sure I have everything I need for when I'm on the surface. And I kind of have a slew of different outfits for different environments. So when I'm going deep diving, down to like Mariana Trench, I have a more pressure sensitive suit. If I'm going to the thermal vents, I have a heat resistant suit. If I'm going to the Arctic, I'm having a cold resistant suit. I have a suit for every occasion.
Yeah, it's like the diving Mr. Ben.
And if you come to the UK, have you got a stab-proof suit?
Oh, what kind of suit?
A stab-proof suit.
Stub suit. What's a stub?
No, stab-proof. Stab-proof. If you come to London, you have to wear one.
Yeah.
I got to worry about that if I come to the UK. That's scary, man.
Moving on. To be fair, there's a point here from Drippy who was with me when we met you at Rap. I got
my own stabbing equipment. I'll be able to handle my own, I think.
I swear he had a mate who was a lobster. Did you ever got a lobster friend?
Oh, yeah, one of my buddies. He's the buoy. He's a lifeguard. I've been trying to train him to help out on the surface while I'm away. Yeah, I think he did have like some lobster themed fins or something like that. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Okay, fair enough.
Cool.
Is he from Maine?
I don't know where I found that guy. He just follows me around.
You saw on that video I've just shown. Then you obviously participating and interacting with the audience that are waiting in queues. And I mean, we had a great turnout last week, as we keep talking about, and hopefully it's just going to grow and grow and grow, without throughout other shows that are scheduled up and down the UK. But how long are these people queuing for on average? Because that's something we don't like queuing. Nobody likes queuing. What we're talking, there must be a good half an hour to an hour there, surely, for doors to open and people to get tickets stamped in or get their little goodie bags. Fair bit of queuing that goes on. You have to entertain them, clearly. No.
So when I'm out there and I'm basically through the lines, it's a mix of different reactions that I get from folks, and especially the younger kids. They either love me and are really curious, or I am their nightmare, and they want nothing to do with me. And they're like, "Oh God, mommy, help me!" And then I bring them a little plushie, a little toy, or some gold, and they brighten right up. It's a good time. I try to add a little extra to the experience for them. Because, yeah, like you said, they're going to get their little goodie bags, and not all the stuff that's in the goodie bag is necessarily geared towards children. There might be like a little coloring page and some crayons or something like that. But the experience of coming and seeing the Diverman, giving a high five, I got a whole treasure box that I open up and let them grab whatever they want. As many coins as you want. I got so many coins back in the sea that I don't even care. You want 20 coins? Here, take them all. They're all for you. You can have them.
Don, can you explain your first interaction with Diverman? Was it a memorable one?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and he forced me to draw something.
Oh yeah, he did the Diverman drawing challenge.
What was that? Sorry, Diverman, the what challenge?
It's the Amazing Diverman 60-second drawing challenge. A matter of fact, if you guys got paper on you, we can do it today. Look at that. Here we go.
Okay.
Go on, then.
All right, who's got a timer? So the challenge is.
Wait, I need to get.
Don will have one on his desk. I'm sure.
Don is gonna get one. You guys can get one. So what we
This
do
wasn't
is,
planned, by the way.
this is a fun thing I do at all the shows. You know, I walk around with a little notepad and a Sharpie, and I set the timer for 60 seconds. And, you know, we have the Amazing Diverman drawing challenge. You have to draw me in 60 seconds.
Well,
And
can you stand up for us? Can you just give us a little bit of a twirl,
Let's
please?
see.
Can we
Here,
stand a
I'll
little bit of
give
a
you-
catwalk moment? Just so I can. All right, okay. So it's going
Okay,
to be front portrait then we're doing. Okay.
All right. Yeah. Well, when you start.
Okay.
When we're going, who's counting down anyway?
Here,
Who's-
hold
who's
on.
doing-
Here, let me get a timer here, and I'll give you the rundown.
And we have to draw you as
Stuff
accurately as possible. Well, we'll let the audience.
No
decide
cheating,
who
no
gets it.
starting yet.
We'll let the audience.
Okay.
Decide who obviously gets it.
All right, are you guys ready?
Yep.
Yeah,
3,
go.
2, 1, go!
This is riveting entertainment for the guests, isn't it?
And
Yeah.
a lot of times I'm moving
Apologies.
around. I don't stay still for the Diverman challenge.
Will you stand still, please? I'm trying to draw you.
Is everyone else trying this?
Oh,
What's the prize?
yeah. What is the prize?
35 seconds left, just so you know. It goes
Oh.
quick.
What?
Oh God! Oh God!
And if you're at
Oh,
home,
dear.
you can do the same thing. You can do the Diverman challenge anytime. It's really fun to see what people come up with. 20 seconds.
All right.
Oh, dear. This
One of the other tricks is even if you finish early, you got to fill the whole time. You got to draw the entire time. Speaking of time, you got 6 seconds left.
Oh God!
3, 2, 1. Pencils down.
Right, who's going first?
Tom?
Oh, me. All right, I'll go first.
Hey, that's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Nice.
Man. I love that.
That's good. That's good.
Oh dear. Okay. Who's up
Jamie?
next? Jamie.
I'm gonna
Go on,
show mine now.
come on. Oh, hang
Uh-oh.
on. Have you just gone?
Wow, disappearing
Oh,
magic.
Invisibly.
There we go.
Hey, there we go.
Oh,
All right.
Whoa,
Oh,
that's
good,
a good one
good.
too. Hey man, I thought I
That's
looked a
good.
little more buff than that. You got me with some spaghetti arms there.
So, who gets your vote? Who gets the point from you, Diverman?
You know, they're all equal. I love them all. I have a notepad of some other friends that have drawn Diverman as well. And I've
cool.
actually had some famous folks draw Diverman for me. I had Kevin Eastman of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles draw one. I had
Wow.
Wow.
Jim Lawson, again of Teenage Mutant. I'm a big Ninja Turtles fan. But I've
never
had
guessed.
Chris Claremont, another comic book creator, do the Diverman challenge. I have everybody do the Diverman challenge. Everybody that I meet.
We're in good company then.
I was going to say, yeah, you just said the C word, and I mean it completely, purely, innocently when I say that. Question there from Joe. Ask him if his comic book has published yet. So, can we talk about comic book for a second?
The comic book, yes. So the comic book we are releasing, I believe we're set for May. It's just about done. We're going through the last parts of getting the publishing, the distribution, pricing, and all that kind of stuff. But the story is complete. I had a secondary artist come and help us out to get some of the panels rearranged so that they fit on. I am, if you didn't guess, not a comic book artist per se, but I do love comic books. I've been reading them ever since I was a child. And I just wanted to put out the stories that I've had on the adventures when I'm under the sea. So I needed a little help from from an art school graduate to kind of piece everything together. So they're helping me get it all together. But by May, I believe we should have it out to print. And we have a show in North Carolina, the Aqua Emporium, that they're giving me like a big 40 by 40 booth. I think it's sponsored by Reef Nutrition Chad. And, you know, we're really hoping to have it out and make that our debut for the comic book. So stay tuned for that. This summer, for sure, we're going to be having that come to the shelves.
So just for those that are watching at home that aren't aware of the comic book scenario, so can we just go backwards a little bit? So what is the concept of the comic book? What is it about? Why does it exist? What's the whole point of it? What are you hoping to achieve from it?
So a buddy of mine, I talked to him when I first came to the surface, and as I was talking to him, he really loved all the stories that I had, and he was like, "Hey man, we should tell the world about all these stories." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." And what he started to notice was a lot of the issues that I was having under the sea were similar to what the aquarium hobbyists were happening in their home. So in issue 1, for example, we have the big bad villain is Aptasia.
Oh.
So in this book, you know, I won't spoil too much, but Diverman, he's going down to his coral garden, and he's wondering what happened to all my coral. I swear it was right here, and everything's dead and gone. And he notices, he pulls back the seaweed, he sees the entire area is filled with Aptasia, and it has stung and killed all his coral. So he starts fertilizing his coral to try to grow it back. But inadvertently, he grows a giant Aptasia monster that attacks. So Diverman has to fight this giant tentacled Aptasia monster. And, you know, he tries slicing it. He tries laser beam. I try to, you know, do everything I can. But it keeps coming back. And, you know, there's a wild ride of excitement, action, drama that's happening in this book. It's really fun, and one of the best things that I really like introducing in the book is real world problems with some fantastical storytelling and solutions that you can actually apply in your fish tank. So do you guys know how to deal with Aptasia?
Well, I will hire a mermaid to mop them.
Yeah. Just on that, Diverman, are mermaids, you said at the beginning of the show, bit of a bad experience. Are they a fickle breed, or are they? Is there a certain way in your experience, you found that you have to communicate with them now?
Mermaids are a beautiful creature of the sea, but they are very often deceptive. Their siren song brings you close, and once you're in striking distance, they attack. So I always have to keep my guard up. I don't get too involved. You know, I keep my distance. You know, nice to look though. You know, I don't dissuade them from trying to seduce me by any means. You know, but I try not to get involved. I do my best, but I am only human.
Well, that leads me on to another question, actually, Diverman. So up here on the surface, we keep terrestrial animals as pets. So I've got a dog running around because it lives on land. Do you keep fish under the sea? Do you have your own fish tank in your submarine?
I have a couple creatures that keep coming back. I actually have one betta fish. It is a freshwater marine betta fish, the only marine betta fish that's actually a freshwater betta fish. He kind of got a sad story. He had some experiments done on him. He was left out at sea, and you know, he found my submarine and I found him, and you know, we've been best buddies for a long time. His name is Yoshi. He's like a color changing betta fish. He's with me most of the time. I haven't been able to bring him up to the surface to show him off, but Harley over at P&W, I think, is going to help me to try to make some contraption that'll be pressure sensitive so I can bring him up. But if you see some of my recent videos of the Where is Diverman, that's Yoshi in that tank.
Ah, okay. Yeah, he's white, isn't he? Is that right?
Yeah, he's many different colors. That's the unique thing about Yoshi.
Got you.
Okay.
There's a couple others as well.
You don't need to keep a reef tank then if you're living down there, do you? I guess.
I mean,
that is an impressive window to be looking.
Yeah, I have lots of fishy friends and creatures down here that keep me occupied. You know, I don't want to have to take them out of their natural environment. You know, the only creatures that I end up keeping are ones that maybe can't sustain themselves or have had some kind of experience where, you know, I also have a highly intelligent mimic octopus that hangs out with me quite a bit.
Okay.
And he's so intelligent. A lot of times he'll dress up as a person, go onto some ships, and help me get some of the technology that maybe I don't normally have access to.
Do we have a name? Does he have a name? So
yeah, her name is Mimi, the mimic octopus.
Mimi.
And
Okay.
one time I even caught her dressed up as a sailor, and she brought back a bunch of sonar and wiring and stuff like that. I said, Mimi, what are you doing up there? They probably need that stuff. You don't want them stranded at sea. So, you know, I had to help them out. It was a whole ordeal. She gets into lots of trouble.
I want to see her.
I do too. She's always blending in. I scold her maybe too much. I might be a little too harsh, but she's a good girl. She's a good girl.
So this, I think, is this the Diverman challenge that we've just done? So this is you again, timing
people.
Oh
yeah, this is Jay from CJ doing the Diverman challenge. He does a really good job at this one. I'm so surprised at how well folks do under pressure. They claim not to be an artist, but I mean, they look at what you guys did.
Perfect. We got the sonar ports on either side. So Diverman can
people seriously taking it seriously. Clearly. Wow. Okay.
Right on the side to make sure.
And do you pin them up at the end of the show for everybody to see? Everybody's.
We've got a thumbs up coming down.
You know, some people are a little sensitive about their art. They don't want people to see it, but I know I keep multiple notepads of all the past Diverman challenges that I've done with folks. One day I'll make just like one big compilation book of all the Diverman challenges that people have done. Once I have like over 100 pages or something, I'll
he's cheating
it all
there.
together in a book. But you know, it's so much fun. Look at him. He finished. I told him he's got to finish. He got to keep going. Amazing.
Oh, brilliant. So just back to the comic book for 1 second then. So you say it's due to be released. Well, sure, you said May is your plan for release?
May is the plan for us to come out and be done with all of our, you know, editing and anything that we need to do, then get it out to print. And as long as we can kind of have the printers be on schedule, we should have books in hand this summer.
Okay. And who's your target audience? Obviously, reefing to an extent, but we talked about younger generations. Oh, is it for anybody? Is there no such thing as an age range?
Really for anybody. It's really for anybody. You know, it's fairly lighthearted. It's not necessarily like what you would see from, you know, I would not say that this is like directed at, you know, children and toddlers. Anybody can enjoy it. I have a lot of homage scenes in there. So one of the covers that I had worked with at one point was like the classic issue, I think 199 of The Amazing Spider-Man or 198 of The Amazing Spider-Man, where he's doing, you know, the classics pose where he's, you know, spraying his web. And there's so many different versions of that over different characters. You know, I have a couple scenes where it's like the fight scene is an homage to a Captain America fight scene. There's a scene where it's like Diverman versus the Many-Aptasia that is reminiscent of the old school Hercules movie from Disney. So there's a little bit of everything for everybody that enjoys comic books in general. And honestly, you can say, you know, who's the target audience for comic books? You know, it was initially for children, but Marvel movies are making a killing. And there's plenty of adults that go to these Comic Cons and buy hundreds or thousands of dollars worth of comic books.
And then it's the merchandise. I mean, you're going to have Diverman curtains, bedspread, underpants, you know, lunchbox, you know,
action figures,
video game. Now, who knows?
So
animated series
for everybody. But there's definitely a tone of, you know, I'm a nice guy until we start talking about how the surface world has been treating the oceans. Now, I didn't want to start with this. I was hoping we would stay pleasant this entire time. But the general public up there, you got to do something about your pollution. There's an entire island of trash that I'm dealing with, and I'm sick of it. So it's no fun and games. I want to put on a nice face for the kids, but realistically, you guys got some work to do, okay? And this is the tone that I bring to this book. Diverman is like, Smokey the Bear. If you saw Smokey the Bear while out camping, you had your fire going and maybe you didn't put it out properly. If a giant grizzly bear in a hat and blue denim jeans holding a shovel came back and was like, hey, man, you're going to put that out, right? You'd probably be running scared, wouldn't you?
Okay.
So that's
I like that. I like that. All the stuff I've seen of you and what I've been following of you, I do like the fact there is like a conservation undertone for all of it. I think it's good to have that educational punch with and how you deliver it. It works, right?
Absolutely. It's one thing that I've been trying to push, and I've talked to a lot of local aquariums, Aquarium by the Bay, or Heal the Bay Aquarium over in Santa Monica. They do a really great job. And they do beach cleanups because it would be one thing if you took your own trash when you went to the beach and you brought it out of there. We are past that point. We need to start taking care of other people's mess because there's just so much of it that, yes, take your own responsibility. But the surface world overall, we need to set the bar. I give a thumbs up, and I'm a diver, and a lot of divers know thumbs up does not mean okay. This is the sign for okay. Everything is good. Things are not good. We need to go up. I want to raise expectations. We need to break through the surface of what is possible in terms of getting these oceans clean, get down to your beach, provide some service to the ocean and our ocean creatures. We've been using it as a resource as if it is infinite, like there's a million different options for food, for oil, for collecting, and all these things. But what are you doing to keep that ocean happy and healthy? We need to raise our expectations and set the bar higher. And that's the only way we're going to clean these oceans. Because I'm tired of it. I can't do it all by myself.
You're very passionate. It's fair to say. I applaud you for that. You're very dedicated. Just going back to what you said earlier, this is the start of your show scene. So remind me how many you said you've got in total lined up?
I have 9 currently scheduled shows across the country. I get people asking me all the time throughout those shows to join more and to try to come out. A lot of reef clubs, and I do my best to accommodate as many people as I can and go to as many shows as I can. But at a certain point, I do have to spend a majority of my time, picking up the plastic from the bottom of the sea because I'm worried about my fishy friends, and I want to make sure that I have this beautiful scene not just be an empty blue. I want to keep my fishy friends alive and happy so that, the aquarium and the fish and coral hobby can have something to aspire to as well.
100%. Well, look, we'd like to, who knows, one day you'll come over to us and across the Atlantic and come and see us in the UK. I'll give you one bit of advice if you do. When you do you got to realise when you do your Diverman drawings, as soon as you give a British person a pen, they're only drawing one thing. And it's on every bus stop, every school desk. It's carved into every bench, and you don't want it in your book.
An octopus?
Yeah, fair enough. So, Diverman, if you're used to commuting around in your submarine, how do you commute and how do you deal with? I'm assuming you fly to some of these destinations because of the size of America. How do you have any flight sickness? Deal with any of that, or are you all right with that?
If I find any what when I'm traveling, what was that?
Do you fly to these various destinations? You're obviously in your submarine, yeah. But then when you go, yes. Because if I'm going to Texas, they don't really have a whole lot of access to water. No. So I'll usually park my submarine
get on a plane or have somebody pick me up or something. You guys got something in Uber, Lifties or something like that. I have my friend Josh help me out with all of that. And, you know, I rely on a lot of my surface world friends to help me out. I don't really have a whole lot of technology. This YouTube's, I didn't even know how many internets I needed for one YouTube at one point. So I was doing my best to figure out this whole thing. I have an Instagram account. I try to post every now and again, but you know, surface world technology is not really my forte.
Fair enough.
Is there anything about this that you'd like in particular that you would like to take to the, you know, to the depths if you could? Maybe some satellite television, anything like that? Food that you like or that you don't get to have? Anything that stands out?
I do often like going to the comic book shops. Like I said, I'm a big comic book fan. Absolute Batman right now is an amazing run. I'm a big fan of Spawn. I don't know if you guys know who Todd McFarlane's Spawn is, but that was actually my first comic book when I was younger. And you know, I was flipping through the store and said, Spider-Man, I know that guy. Superman, I know that guy. Spawn. Now this thing looks cool. It was very gritty. It was a dark undertone. He's a guy that was like sent to hell, but isn't an agent of hell, and you know, he fights against angels and devils, and he's basically just like, you know what, leave me alone. I don't want to deal with any of you guys. I just want to live my life. I want to do my own thing, and he's always getting caught up in the fight. And you know, it's Todd McFarlane, one of my you know, comic book heroes that really got me into comic books and got me into kind of creating my own book. And I think the undertones of the Spawn character, the anti-hero, is what I try to portray in my book. Okay.
So where did the idea of Diverman come from then? So who is Diverman behind the scenes?
Who is Diverman? So Diverman, as you see it in the book, and it explains it in his origins, nobody really believes that Diverman is real. He's a myth. Again, he's like Smokey the Bear or the Loch Ness Monster or Bigfoot. Okay. It's just kind of this myth, and it's used to scare people to clean up the beach and don't leave your trash behind or Diverman's gonna come and get you. And in the book, there's a lifeguard that tries to go and save a kid that's, you know, drowning out in the ocean. And when he's going underwater to save the kid, he actually sees Diverman. And he's looking around and he's like, wait a minute, there's no scheduled dives. I didn't see a boat anywhere. Who is this guy? Is that Diverman? No way. No, it's just a myth.
Well, Jamie just wouldn't stop telling me how excited he was when he got that phone call the other day. I mean, Jamie, you would just sort of like beside yourself.
Yes, you know when someone rings you and they're driving through the countryside and you can't hear a word they're saying and it sounds like they're underwater. I just couldn't work it out, and it turned out it actually was underwater. It made sense.
Oh yeah, like I said, my signal is not fantastic. I have to come quite far to the surface to get any kind of radio signal, so to send messages. So I apologize. I hope this signal is good. I tried to find a good parking spot.
Yeah. Just questioning regarding caves. Sorry, from Diverman. Is your submarine so big that when you enter in certain caves you can just get in? And not just, are you all right with driving the submarine? How's the submarine?
Just nudge the tip. Sometimes that's all you need, honestly. Am I right? Listen, I get the job done, and that's all that matters, right?
So Diverman, what is your special power? Like Superman, Spider-Man, they all have special power. Yeah. What is your special power?
Stabby.
I really hope I'm not about to reveal this, and you turn out to be some kind of supervillain that uses it against me. But I will say, you know, I have a special liquid, you know, the blue goo, that allows me to create just about any chemical formula that I need for any given situation. You know, it's how I deal with a lot of the problems in the ocean. It's how I make my fertilizer. It's how I make my medicine for my fish friends. It's how I deal with a lot of the issues that I have. Even just coming up to the surface, I make my own gas mixture with these chemical formulas. And this special liquid is something I have to harvest at the very depths of the ocean. So every now and again, I need to go and make a big trip deeper and deeper into the ocean to harvest this blue goo. And then I can utilize it, synthesize it into some usable material. You know, I plug it into my tack pad and my my gas mixing chamber here, and I'm able to make whatever compound I need.
Tom, I think Diverman's just hit on something there. When he said, when he accused Dong of being a supervillain, I can see it. He's like Dr. Evil out of Austin Powers, stroking his cat on his chair, plotting world vengeance. I can see it.
Oh, here we go. You've set him
Oh,
up already,
definitely. Yeah, here we go.
Evil Dong.
Yeah.
I
I
have
won
a
$1
friend
million.
too.
Let's share a bit more footage of Diverman.
You only get it here at Reefapalooza 2025.
Yeah, you do a lot of support, a lot of social media as well, don't you? People have got channels helping and promote.
I mean, you got to get down here.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think the social media has been a great way to kind of promote some of the things that I do. Get people to get involved, come out to these shows. I mean, I've really enjoyed the community that the aquarium hobby has provided for people. You know, it's an outlet for people to come together with something that they love, you know, get into the sciences. Yeah, I feel like a scientist when I'm tinkering with my aquarium. I'm dealing with salinity, with pH, with temperatures, alkalinity, calcium, ammonium, nitrite, nitrate, iodine, all these things. I know so much more of the periodic table than I would say most people. And aquarium hobbyists, I'm sure, feel the same. You know, you're mixing and dosing and titrating and, you know, trying to figure out how to get all these phosphates out of your tank, grow this animal in a small box in your home to represent the ocean. So, you know, it's really great to try to spread that. And social media has just been a fantastic platform to do that and introduce more people into the hobby, especially those that feel like they want to, you know, play scientist, but maybe don't have a chemistry degree or biology degree or any of those things. But I'll tell you, man, there's a lot of non-professional biologists and marine biologists that are breeding fish in their own home, coming up with their own chemical cocktails. I've seen people, you know, dose vodka in their tank to boost bacteria. You know, who comes up with that kind of thing?
Oh, you haven't met Dong yet.
Dong, definitely. Just to go back to that video I've just played here. So in this video, you're obviously at coral vendors then. Question for you there. Any particular coral that stands out to you? Any coral that you don't see so often when you're down in your submarine that you think is probably something that we should recognize a bit more often, maybe? Anything that stands out?
The bounce mushrooms have been something that I hadn't really seen in the ocean. They're unique to the surface world. Also, there's a lot of zoanthlid varieties up here. Usually when I'm seeing zoanthlids, it's kind of just like a wide variety, a mix. But what I've seen people do is they take a morph out of one big colony. You know, it's maybe an all green colony. Maybe you guys call it like eagle eye or watermelon or something like that. And you find one orange one or one that has like pink stripes in it. You cut that one out and then you grow that. And then you have a whole new species of this coral. And there's so many different iterations. There's literally hundreds of different zoanthlids. But if you look at the scientific community, zoanthlid is just one species. There's not really a whole lot of variation. You know, we have zoanthlid, you have palithoas, and there's a couple in between there, but there are hundreds of different types of zoanthlids, and they're some of the most colorful and hardiest coral that you can really keep in the aquarium. And the variety of colors is just mind-blowing.
I'm looking at these videos here, Diverman, of you walking around, and it's clear. So we had, to put some context on this, we had our Reefers Network Reef Meet last weekend at Advanced Aquarium Consultancy, which is one of the better shops in the UK, right? And we had a great turnout for our first one of the year. And exactly what you said is all that community, people bouncing off each other. We have our own semi sort of entertainer and bright spark, and that's a young lady that comes and she makes balloons and gives out homemade little trinkets and blows bubbles and stuff. And I think you just need that. Looking at this, like it's clear that you love doing this just as much as everyone else loves seeing it, right? It's a two-way thing.
Oh yeah, I love it. I get so excited going out to these shows. I feed off the people that are there. Did you see how long that line was? That line goes all the way back to the end of the hall, wraps back around. And that's a long haul right there. And those were not even like the early birds. The early birds had already at that point gotten in. So there was probably an extra like 200 people that weren't pictured here.
Yeah.
And, I see how excited people are when the doors open, when they get their goodie bag, they're rushing over to go see their favorite vendor or see something new that they haven't experienced before. And, I just get excited. I'm so hyped for it. And you can see I almost bump into that guy because my vision is pretty restricted in this thing,
So, Diverman, I have a question for you. Who is behind the camera? Is it Josh?
Camera? I have a couple of people that come and help me out at time to time, depending on where I'm at. Sometimes there are hobbyists that want to just help and volunteer. I got one guy, John, that helps me out quite often. Another guy, Jason. Josh Rodriguez helps me quite a bit. He's been my biggest help while I come to the surface. And like I said, he's helped me out with the comic book and kind of setting up my Instagram, telling me about all the YouTubes and internets that I need for it, and making sure I got what I need. Him and Mimi have been very helpful in getting the technology down here so I can set everything up.
If we were going to try and replicate something similar in the UK, Diverman, is there a certain recruitment process that you'd suggest we followed to find a suitable candidate?
Well, I do have, Josh has been my go-to right-hand man. And without him, I don't feel super comfortable giving my identity to anybody else or my certain needs that, he's been my go-to guy. So if we can get him out there as well, I could probably drive my sub over to the EU and we can both fly over to you guys. I think that would be a big help. There's usually always two people flying with Diverman. So, again, because of my restricted vision, I got to have somebody helping me out, making sure that I'm not bumping into little kids and then, giving them plushies and dumping them in the water by accident or something. And it's definitely helpful to have that second person there with me. But again, I often do have volunteers and folks that, other cameramen that have some high-tech equipment that like to even, go around with me and maybe they work for the show and they provide some video for the showrunners to use on their own. But I like to get some of my own video for my Instagram as well. But Josh and John are usually my two folks that I go to.
Jamie, can you see this? Can you see it being something that we can embrace in the UK? Anybody you can think of that would make a good diver man, woman, or of character similar to maybe?
I reckon we could enroll like Drippy. He could be like Helmet Man or something like that.
Oh, Drippy's a good guy.
Helmet Man.
With a name like Drippy, we know
he needs to be a big helmet. That is
he's
for
not
sure.
getting wet, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But no, people in the audience, if you think with the UK, embrace this creativity and passion for the hobby, which clearly is a passion. You can definitely see it in those videos. You can hear it this afternoon, this evening. Please tell us what you think the UK should be doing more of, less of at reef meets as well. Because I said this in the green room before we went live, but I personally feel that the UK's definitely got significantly better over the last few years. Helps to a lot of the brands and obviously shops, up and down the country getting on board with it. You guys in America have been doing this for a number of years. When I think back to my earlier days, looking at reefing videos, these events would pop up and they've always seemed to be popular and busy and full of all right brands and sponsorships and energy. You Yanks like it bigger and, all about size and cramming as much in as you can. And like you said, 2,000 guests. But for us over here in the UK, we are trying a little bit slower, maybe take a little bit longer. Any tips, Diverman, Dong, from your experience that we should take the UK to make it a little bit bigger?
Absolutely. And also, is there a Mrs. Diverman there?
A Mrs. Diverman. Well, I don't necessarily have a Mrs., but I like I said, I try not to deal with the mermaids. I think I'm just going to be Diverman down here in the sea. I don't know that I could really have somebody living in this submarine. It get too cramped, you know. Last thing I need is for somebody nagging at me to pick up my helmet when I'm leaving it around or something like that. You know what I mean? But the mermaids can stay out in the sea where they have plenty of room to roam and not bite my head off.
Okay. All right. So just go back to a question there. Then, is there anything that you, Diverman and Dong, you can think of that the UK could probably start doing that works really well for the US in terms of your shows and events?
So one thing that I have seen at a lot of the US shows, and we're even still working on a lot of it here. I think I've been involved in quite a bit of it. The coral vendors and the products and all those things, your main attendees, they're going to come for that anyways. It doesn't really matter all the spectacle and excitement and stuff like that. But if you want to get new blood into the hobby, and this is something that I've heard every single person that's making a product, selling something, or trying to get new customers or shop owners, every single one of them tells me, how do we get new people into the hobby? And I tell you, you have to bring something for them. You have to have something that you need zero knowledge to enjoy. Diverman is a perfect example. You don't need to even know what a fish is. If you think that Nemo is the only fish in the world, Diverman can still have fun, and you can still have fun seeing Diverman. We can give you a high five. You can go home with some treasure. You can go home with a plushie. You can say you had an experience. You've taken a picture, and you could have not seen a single coral for the whole day, but you went to this event, you saw Diverman, and you had the best time of your life. And some of the other shows around here have done something like a kids zone or like a community area where they have, drawing or activities and, just kind of like ocean themed fun things. And again, you don't have to have any knowledge, or maybe that section provides some knowledge. I know we have a lot of speakers that come to these shows, but realistically, not everybody really cares how the bacteria nitrogen cycle works. Some of that stuff is kind of boring to somebody that just wants to go and play video games. You know what I mean? But if you start talking about, this cool jellyfish or, the sea turtles and this giant whale, and you make a spectacle out of nature and show them why we're so passionate. I'm passionate because I love the science, I love the animals, and I love the community. Right? Not everybody cares about the science. Not everybody cares about nature, but everybody loves community. Everybody wants to feel like they're part of something. And when you exclusively put coral vendor, fish vendor, dry goods, I'm not in your community, so I don't care about those things. You need to bring something for the people to get introduced to it. You need a hook. Once you got them on that hook, you can reel them in, and you can say, well, you really like this brightly colored pink thing in this glass box. Well, let me show you how you can do that. And now they start thinking, oh, all I need is a little bit of salt, some sand, and some rock, and I can have this beautiful fish in my home? Easy. You got to keep it simple.
You've hit the key things, community, right? So in the UK 10-15 years ago, we used to have a massive, closest thing we had to the States sort of shows, it was called Aquatic Live, and I don't know if people remember that. It was at Kensington Olympia in London, and it was like a 10,000 people a day thing over a weekend, and it was busy, it was packed, it was full of vendors, it was full of all sorts. I didn't enjoy it. And more recently we have Aqua, which is a similar sort of thing, maybe not as big but still big. And then we have the other sort of shows like Coral Freaks and Love to Reef, which are much more intimate, and they're the ones I really like because it's just the community vibe. And yes, there's not so many vendors as the American sort of shows, but it's all the talks and all the presentations and the people. That's what makes it for me. They're the ones I like. So a long-winded way of asking you a question is a lot of the state shows we see are the big ones like rap and that have all the vendors there. But what's the club scene and society scene? Do you have little local clubs all over the place, or is that quite rare and scarce, or how is it?
I've seen a lot of different clubs. I want to say almost every state has at least one or several clubs, depending on how big they are. For example, Massachusetts has at least one big club. I think they're still together. Western Mass Reef Association. You have the Boston Reefer Society. In Connecticut, you have Connecticut CTARS. I forget what it stands for, but you have a lot of different local clubs. Again, I spend a lot of time underwater, so I don't get too involved in a lot of these clubs, but a lot of times they do reach out to me. You have the LIRA, the Long Island Reef Association. So I think almost every state has several clubs. So general regions will have it. And a lot of times those clubs, from what I've seen, they put together maybe a monthly meeting where everybody gets together. You know, maybe they share some appetizers or dinner. It's sometimes really low key. Other times it's like they put on a big community event and do their own frag swap, and or come out and have a speaker come and do a personal talk. Or, you know, I remember one time I did a show for CTARS, and they had me show them how to cut coral. And that was actually one of the first things that I did when I was at Frag Farmers Market. I was fragging corals. So I brought a Griffin saw, and I brought my blades and my shears and all my coral cutting tools, and I showed people how to properly propagate and cut coral. And it's providing some education to these folks that, like, it's community, but it's also education. So by educating more people, you will be able to get them more and more involved in that community, grow the community. And then, you know, for the vendor side, everybody's looking at dollar signs, but building that community is going to be good for business, because you're going to have a bigger market. You're going to have more growth. You're going to have more people that are going to be wanting to come to your store to learn more.
100%. Yeah.
One thing that I did notice as well is that it's a full family day out, isn't it, or weekend? Everybody's involved in the family. Because when I went to RAP, like in the UK, we tend to have our spouses a little bit reluctant to come. I mean, more starting to get a little bit more involved because of the social activity the night before, maybe, you know, a meal, like you say, or a few drinks. So there is that interaction. And again, one thing I did notice in the States is the split between the male and the female sort of reefers. It's a lot more sort of even keel, whereas it's very heavily sort of male dominated in the UK. But going back to my previous point about the family, there seems to be a lot more around. Obviously, especially in Orlando, you've got Disney World, obviously a lot more attractions, but there tends to be a lot more around the facility that caters for, you know, the family as well as just the reefer, like you were saying earlier. Yeah.
They have the kids zone at almost every event that I go to. And it's not always, you know, very fleshed out. Sometimes it's just a table with some coloring pages and crayons. Other times it's, you know, somebody like me, you know, interacting with people. Other times it's like a balloon animal artist or a face painter. At Reefapalooza, they had like a juggler and a magician. You know, you want to be able to entertain those that are not necessarily there for the coral deals. Because again, not everybody cares about the Godzilla radioactive bubble mushroom, you know, from Jason Fox corals, or not everybody cares about this. Oh my God, the hammer coral, the Euphilia, the gonoporia. It's just big words. You know what I mean? So you need to get something so that while, you know, and again, in America, it is still very male dominant. There are a lot of females that get involved, you know, and they do just as good. They're just as passionate. I think a lot of times, though, the women are often stuck with the kids and don't necessarily feel like they have the time. And I can't speak for women, so I'm sorry, don't come at me for this, but in my opinion, when you're worried about keeping little Jimmy from knocking over a fish tank, you're going to be a lot less concerned about what's in that fish tank and how to grow it and how to breed and how to propagate. You're just trying to keep these kids from going crazy and pulling your own hair out. So you keep entertained, you keep them interested, and then over time they start saying, you know, hey, when's the next show? I had a really good time seeing that Diverman guy. When's the next time we can see him? Or I want to get my face painted like a shark again. Or, you know, I want to have like a big balloon sword like a pirate. That was so much fun. You want to have those kind of interactions so that, you know, while people are there, they're not just looking at the clock waiting to go to the next thing that they want to go to. And I'm sure the guys that are there, and you know, whoever, male, female, whatever you want to call yourself, mermaids, everybody that's there for the show is going to want to be able to focus on their community, their interests, the coral that they're there to find, the education that they're looking to get. So if I'm going to see a speaker, you know, and I want to learn more about how to grow macroalgae and how to dose calcium properly, and it's a half-hour speaker, guess how many kids are sitting in that room, nice and quiet, just sitting and occupied? Probably zero. It would be my guess. They're begging, Daddy, is this almost over? When are we going to go? When's the movie start? Can we go to the park? I want an ice cream, you know. You want to make sure that they're having fun too.
And that's just done.
Well, it's his birthday. Come on, he deserves an ice cream, doesn't he?
Definitely deserves an ice cream. Yes.
He's not doing bad for 21, is he?
No, definitely not. Good pay.
No.
How old are you now, Don?
Oh, he went
Well,
there.
Diverman is very correct that on all these events, the kids table actually is very busy. Actually helping the parents to be able to actually enjoy the show. Exactly. So also the kid can have a place to play. So I remember one event, kind of funny. So that was a Boston Reefer Society event, the Flagsgiving event, probably 2 years ago. I forget exactly which one. There was a very big table for kid activity, like painting under the UV light. Very fascinating. Yep. Then I noticed that the coral vendor right next to that table, he sells his coral pretty well because his coral is just popping. The reason for that is that on the kids table, there's several giant UV lights shining on the table. The light actually reached to the tank. All these coral look so fabulous, so colorful, just because of the kids table's giant UV light. Yeah, that I think that's well, the Diverman is a very good concept and is necessary for an event. Actually, it shows like it make people feel like that's a family event.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if you walk in there, a bunch of marine biologists with lab coats sitting there and talking about all these big words, no, that's not a family event. People, it's a big hobby. Seriously. So people need to enjoy it. The whole family need to enjoy it. So that's why that I think the Diverman is a really good concept, and in practice is very entertaining. It basically just like the cherry on top of the ice cream. So yeah, that's how I look at it. So maybe in the future there will be you bring a mermaid, please. I really want to see a mermaid. I don't mind she sang to me.
We've got a mermaid in the UK, but I'm not going to go there.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Diverman, any advice to any children or anybody that wants to become a Diverman? Anything that anybody should do?
So get involved in whatever interests you, whether it's diving and just looking at the ocean personally, you know, with your own eyes. I started my love of the ocean very, very young. My parents had fish tanks, and that made me want to go be a diver very early on. Yeah. Once I was able to really get into the water, I never wanted to leave. I just wanted to go deeper and deeper. So kids can get involved in, just recreational activity, sports, and that'll help you to be fit enough to go diving. Diving is something you can do till you're like 70, 80 years old. And then if you're getting involved with diving, or maybe you don't want to dive, maybe you just find one fish that you think is gorgeous, that this is like your top tier fish. Do some research. It's really good for kids to start learning how to, make an essay, do some research, come up with your own way of organizing your notes. And what I used to do is I would get, before really the internet was a big thing, I would just go to the library and find any book I could about fish. And I would say, okay, flame angel, this book says it grows from this size, it lives in this environment, it likes this pH. What does this book say? Oh, this book actually says it eats coral, so I might be careful. Oh, this book says it's actually fine with coral. Which one's right? So you start doing your own research. It helps you in school. And then once you start getting into high school, maybe you start learning a little more of chemistry, a little more biology, environmental sciences, and it gets you interested in the sciences overall. And I think that education is beneficial for anybody, even if you're not going to be in the aquarium hobby. It'll help you in the real world to get a job, to be a functioning part of society, and to just be able to make enough money to maybe hire somebody to get a beautiful fish tank in your own home. You don't need to learn all this stuff to be a part of the community. You could just be somebody that likes looking at it and wants somebody else, like Paul, he has his shop over there, and I know there's a lot of folks over here that do maintenance and have accounts where they install aquariums, and they come out every month or every couple of weeks or every quarter. Sometimes just when I've gotten lazy and the tank is looking green, hey, can you come by and take care of this? I don't want to deal with it. I got soccer games, I got meetings, I got all different types of things that I got to get to, and I just need somebody to do it for me, but I like looking at it. So for kids getting involved, there's a lot of different avenues for how you can join the community. You don't have to work at a fish store. You don't have to build a coral reef. You don't even have to have, any general interest in fishing coral. But if you look at the ocean and you're sitting at the beach and you want to enjoy that view and lay out in the sun and enjoy, all that there is in the ocean, then you're already part of that community. You're already getting involved and clean the beach, help with plastic pollution. There's so many different ways that you can get involved. And it all just starts with someone giving you that little nudge, someone getting you interested in learning more. Somebody like me to say, hey, give me a big high five, take some gold coins, let's take a picture. You want to do a drawing challenge? And all of a sudden they're like, how do I get more of this? How do I have more of this feeling? I want to do that again. What other shows are there? How else there's a fish store near me? Can we go check it out? I want to see if they have that fish that I saw in this book.
Do you know what? That's a great way to summarize everything you've brought to us tonight. And that is, like, when I was a kid, my primary school, my secondary school, there was fish tanks in the science classrooms. There was always or like frogs and tadpoles, and there was always that. Schools nowadays don't have that, so kids don't get exposed to aquatics. So it's kind of when we go to our shows and stuff, there's not many kids come to us because we're not geared up for it. We don't have a Diverman walking around. We don't have a creche on that sort of stuff to occupy them. I think you're onto something here about how we bring people through, because if we don't, then the hobby doesn't continue, does it, without kids coming into it?
Who's going to be left? We need somebody to fill in and bring the youth. And again, that's why Frag Farmers Market is hands down my favorite show across the whole country, because it's right in the high school. It's literally bringing kids from the classroom, involving them. They have a big refugium area where they have a giant mangrove tree that's already hitting the roof. They've been doing it for so long, and it started as just a little mangrove, a single stem, and this thing looks like it's wild now. But kids go through that class and they see it and they say, "Whoa, I didn't know that this was possible in a room. I just thought it was something that I saw on National Geographic's one time, or on a Disney show, or wherever they're experiencing that kind of view. But I didn't know that you could do this in a glass box at home." And that maybe starts to spark, what could I do? Maybe I start with the beta fish. Maybe I start with a small P&W tank. And and speaking of P&W, they have this one guy, Mike. I don't know if you've seen him. He wears the tank right on his chest.
Yeah,
it's like, he's got like 50 species of coral in there, 2 fish, a shrimp, all different types of stuff. And he's done that on his own. So the possibilities are endless. I'm a great example. I came to the surface. I had left you guys long ago because I didn't think that I had a whole lot in common, and I've come back and I've seen the community. The community has brought me back to the surface because I want to see more, and I want to share my knowledge as much as I can.
100%.
We have a few questions for you, Diverman, that have come in from the audience. I'm conscious of time. I'm going to wrap us up shortly. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions for Diverman that we haven't already asked this afternoon, please do fire them in the comments section, and I will do my best to answer them. It was a question there from John Wright asking, has Diverman ever got caught in a clam? Good question.
I did, actually. They have these giant clams.
What part of Diverman?
What's that?
Which part of Diverman? Is that part of the question?
Which clam?
No, which part of Diverman? Which part of your body? Yeah, which part have you got stuck in the clam?
Oh, whoa! Well, like I said, I try to avoid the mermaids, but yes, clams. There was a particular scenario where I very much like the Hulk lifting the weight of the world, had to pry myself out from within a giant clam. I was trying to help it out. It had something stuck in there. I reached in, got it out, and I got stuck. Had to pry it open, and it got away safe.
Cool. Okay, you live to tell the tale. Clearly,
I live to tell the tale.
One directed at me, my right-hand man again, Drippy. Question: on your deep water travels, you must have seen some horrifically large, ugly creatures. Which one would you say Tom resembles? Asking for a friend.
Which Tom, I don't want to disparage you.
We're all friends here, mate. Don't worry about it. When we've had plenty of blue moons at the Caribbean Isle, mate, don't worry. We're all friends.
You don't strike me as a guy with gills, so it'd be hard to say.
No.
Maybe a shark.
Okay. Fair enough.
Very polite.
Have you had any close shaves that you could talk to us about for a minute before we wrap up? Anything that you live to tell another tale? Any close encounters?
There's once you guys know about gorilla crabs?
Yeah.
Oh, this was a King Kong sized gorilla crab, and it nearly took me out. Luckily I was able to fend it off. It climbed to the top of the pier. It was swiping out on other fish in the sea. I had to fight it with my knife and my chemical formula bubble gun. And that was a close one. I didn't think I was going to make it out of there. One quick snap and I would have been done.
Definitely. Well, okay. Well,
I guess that the ugliest creature you see probably is the ExxonMobil oil tanker.
Right on the money, Tom. Right on the money.
Definitely.
Those drills. Oh, man. Get them out of here.
Jamie, Don, any more questions for Diverman before we let him descend back down to his...
No, I think it's been a great fun tonight, and I think you've given us a few little pointers about what we could do to lighten the scene in the UK. So thank you very much for your enthusiasm and your time. It's been great.
Yeah.
You got any? Sorry, I was just going to ask. Any plans for the weekend, Diverman? Anything that you can share with us that you get up to? Any spare time you have?
Well, I'm going to be spending most of my time at Frag Farmers, hanging out with those folks. Probably have some dinner with them later tonight, and just kind of get everything set up for my booth. And then once I'm done with that, I'll go back to the sea and you know, start doing some editing of video and get it up so that I can share all my fun experiences with everybody on the surface. That's, for the most part, that's all I'll be doing this week.
Okay. Sorry, Don, what were you going to say?
Oh, since Diverman submarine is parked in a New England area, so you're always welcome to emerge from my reef tanks and come over. Yeah, we can have more fun.
Absolutely.
If anybody wants to follow you on social, Diverman, you are on Instagram?
Yes, I'm on Instagram at The Amazing Diverman. That's where I will be going live this weekend. At some point in the future, I'll probably try to do a YouTube show. I just can't commit to the time, and when I start doing it, I want to make sure that I can kind of be on clockwork like you guys. You guys have a Friday show just about every week. Sometimes do a Sunday show. I don't often get great reception to really be able to commit to that yet. But I go live for all the shows that I go to on Instagram. So if you want to get a sneak peek at what we got going on for Frag Farmers or for Reefapalooza or Aquashella or any of the shows that I go to, you can always check in, and I'll be usually announcing, hey, we're going to be going live in about 10 minutes. Come on down. I try my best to look at the comments, and if you guys want to see anything in particular, we'll you know, just shout it out, and I'll go see your favorite vendor, say hi to your favorite person over at the show. But yeah, that's where you can find me, Instagram at The Amazing Diverman. I also have a Discord, Friends of Diverman. If you're interested in joining the Discord, that's how you can kind of find out when we're having meetups, beach cleanups, any special behind the scenes stuff that maybe I'm not announcing on the Instagram. Or we can just chat, answer any questions that you guys might have.
Okay.
I think I might be losing the signal down here.
It's definitely time for me to let go of The Amazing Diverman. Right, last question very quickly. Is the comic going to be available to people in the UK, Diverman? Asking for a friend, Grant Godfrey.
You know, I'm not sure how Surface World logistics and distribution happen, but I will absolutely be talking to some vendors in the UK. Maybe Paul or you guys can work out something with Diverman where you make a bulk order. I'd really like to get these
definitely
books
AAC
started at the shows and at the fish stores. It will be available at fish stores and at club events before it hits Barnes and Noble and Amazon and all these other places. It is, the whole point is to drive people to the fish stores, and if you want to see the latest issue of Amazing Diverman, you go to the fish store, you pick up a comic, and again, you don't have to have any interest in fish and coral to have fun and to get something from the fish store. You could just pick up the Diverman book and have a fun read and maybe have a laugh and find something interesting in those pages.
100%. Love that.
Right, Jamie Don, next week, who's on? What's happening next Friday?
I believe I'm being replaced by Steph next week. You've got a prettier face to look at. And we've got a really cool guest with a superb name lined up.
Don?
Do you want to tell them their name then, Don?
Just incredible.
Just
no,
incredible.
It's Justin Incredible. It's Justin Incredible going to be on next week.
Are we going to be talking about everything regarding
a lot of things?
A lot of things.
If you're Ganipora friends, don't miss this.
So for everyone, that doesn't know, Just Incredible is the man behind the Two Little Fishes Gonio Power superfood. So really good guy.
Yes. So he'll be joining us next Friday live on the Reefers Network show. Listen, Diverman, I know you're very busy. I can tell you're probably busting for a toilet break. You'll be talking to us for well over an hour and a half. Good luck tomorrow at your farm, your Coral Swap Farm event. It sounds like it's going to be an amazing day for sure. Hopefully we can get out to see you soon again at Reefapalooza. And thank you very much for joining us. Stay safe in all your deep water travels, whatever you get up to. Thank you once again. Jamie, Don, thank you very much, gentlemen. We'll see you all next week. And for those of you watching at home, thanks for a little bit of entertainment on a Friday night for a change. Here he is, giving us a dance as we go out. Thank you very much. Enjoy your week, and we'll see you all next Friday. Bye-bye. Take care.